Hello, everyone. If you are coming in, let me know if you can hear me. I'm full of nerves tonight. So excited to share so many amazing images. Thank you, Kate. Okay, awesome. Hi. Happy Monday. This has been such an incredible year working through your images. We took it a little bit slower this year, which absolutely paid off, and I can't wait to present the official winners to you guys in a couple days. But tonight we're going to chat about some of the top images that came through, and I'm really excited to have some of our expert panelists here with us. We have Leilani Rogers, we have Lacey Barrett. Oh, you can wave. Hi. Belle just disappeared, but I think she'll be right back. And then we have Selena coming. I'm sad to say that we had Catherine Williams as well, but she is not feeling well today. So it's our core birth photographer pro artists. I love it. I say pro as in professional, but also they're pro, you guys. So most of us know who they are, but I do want to give them formal introductions because they are incredible and they deserve to be acknowledged for all the hard work they have accomplished and all that they are doing. So first up, we have Leilani, who is a multi-award-winning veteran birth photographer who literally has a lifetime of experience in the visual arts industry. That's something I really love about Leilani is that she got a foundation of art as a child. And it really just comes through in so much of what she says. Hi, Belle. Welcome back. So much of what Leilani does and how she sees images and just how she works. So her achievement list is very long, so I don't really know exactly where to start, but I do want to mention that she was the founder of the Public Breastfeeding Awareness Project back in, Leilani, when was that you started that?
2013.
Yes.
So, and we ran actively through, Lacey and Belle could probably both help me out here. Maybe 2017, 16, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was 2016, I think.
Yeah, and it made such an impact. I truly believe you're one of the pioneers of birth and breastfeeding and just putting imagery out there for birthing people. So thank you so much for being with us, and always every year for showing up and being a judge and putting in the time and effort. I know that you work hard on the feedback that you give to entrants, and I am excited for them to hear from you tonight and to also read some of your feedback in the next couple days. Okay, so then we have Belle, who herself is a powerhouse. She's exciting and enthusiastic, and she's fun, but she inspires me because she decided, I don't know when it was, Belle, but you decided I'm going to grow, and you just exploded in growth. And now you can't help but to pull everybody you know into that. So Belle is a multi-award-winning birth photographer, or just photographer, but you also have a lot of awards in your birth work. She and Leilani both are past winners of our image competition, but she now also launched Camera Queens and Potent Identity Photography. Do you want to talk about that? Oh, yeah, talk about that really quick. And then Leilani, I skipped over your birth bound. We're going to talk about that too.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Liz, for your generous words. That is so lovely to hear. Just soaking all of that in. So I spent 9 years as a birth photographer and doula and, doing all the things, and was lucky enough to win this amazing competition in 2019. And then it was that same year that I had this epiphany that I was going to move out of the birth space. And so it was in that kind of that space in between where I was like, oh my goodness, I need to do something else that lights me up. And so I have coined my own genre of branding photography. So it's under that umbrella, but it's more about the energetics and about an incredible experience between me and my muse. And that's where Potent Identity kind of comes out from that.
That's amazing. Pioneering. I think that all of you, that's who you are. You are pioneers, and it inspires me so much. So, and I forgot to mention, Leilani, among her giant list of accomplishments, she founded and owns Birthbound Photographer. Do you want to chat about that really quick?
Sure. Birthbound Photographer launched in 2017 or 18. And I just had really begun mentoring and teaching and speaking at conferences, and thought we need this in our niche. A lot of birth photographers at that time were attending more general photography conferences and trying to extract information that they could use to become better or grow their birth photography businesses. And so I saw that need to, kind of hone in all those educational opportunities and, specifically apply them to birth photography. And so we launched an online platform of classes, and from there wrote a certification program. And so, yes, I love mentoring other birth photographers.
Doing amazing things for the birth industry. Thank you both. And then Lacey, my lady Lacey. Actually, let me pull your bio up here so I can be official. Lacey just is so passionate about art and imagery and growing in your work. I don't know anybody who loves photography competitions more than Lacey, but I don't know that many people, so this probably isn't saying a lot. But so Lacey is the owner of Exposing Birth, and much like Leilani, she also has a platform for mentoring and teaching and coaching birth photographers, but also doulas. Is that true, Lacey?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to speak about Exposing Birth real quickly?
Yeah. So I started Exposing Birth as Lacey Barrett Live back in 2017, and it's had this really beautiful evolution over the years, and we have now landed on proper branding of it went from Lacey Barrett Live to Birth Photographer, which was very generalized because it wasn't ever meant to be a platform. And then it's now Exposing Birth, and we have birth photography course, and we also have a doula course, which is based on NLP, and that is so much fun to be able to use NLP work and marry that together with doula work, because it's so universal in how we care for ourselves as well as serve ourselves as well. So I enjoy teaching that course so much.
I love that. Can you tell us, is NLP an Australian thing, or am I just not in the loop?
No, NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. So it's an
NLP.
actual,
okay.
NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So it's basically creating your reality with your words, and using the power of your mind to heal yourself, your emotions, and creating whatever you want.
Powerful stuff. I would be remiss not to mention that Lacey also is a multi-award winning photographer. And every one of these ladies and each person who's on our expert panel this year they are multi-award winning, but they also have all been judges in previous competitions. So I was really excited to bring on a panel of experienced judges with pretty high standards. So I'm excited to jump in. Missing Selena, but hopefully she'll come in, but I'm sad to miss out on introducing her. She's also incredible, and if she comes, we might pause and do that. And then we are also missing Catherine. So, all right, let's jump in. This software is new to me, so I'm going to try and pull up our first image.
Do you want me to move this back, Liz?
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'll do that. Where is it? There we go.
Okay. All right. So this image here is titled The Blessed Exhaustion, and it's in the delivery category. And I would love to hear from any of you what your first impressions were of this.
I mean, the lighting in this image is gorgeous. Let's just start there, because it's just so beautiful and soft and natural. And I mean, it falls on them in all the right places.
Yeah, I have to second Leilani. The usage of light and dark in this is absolutely exquisite. You've got nice, beautiful dark blacks. Those highlights are in all of the right places. And the coloring, the rosy cheeks, like, yeah, the color and the lighting in this is absolutely exquisite.
I just, yeah, obviously this is just an absolutely breathtaking image, and I love how it crosses into that fine art sort of category as well. And the use of negative space just really helps to draw my eye from around the birth pool up and into that birthing family space. And it's such a quiet image, but it evokes so much emotion. And it just, yeah, it's beautiful. It's just such a beautiful image.
Thank you, ladies. I'm going to admit I'm going to have a hard time not chiming in with my comments every now and then, even though I'm not officially a judge. So
please chime in.
Do it.
Yeah. To.
I love images with motion, and this brings. I say that in an abstract way, but the way your eye is drawn around creates that motion for me, and it's a storytelling because it's not instant. It's oh, there's this and then this, and it's this discovery. And so that's what I really love about this one. So,
and I noticed in the comments, somebody commented interesting composition, and it really is. It is a very intentional, it's cropped very intentionally. Mm-hmm. And I may not have recognized that the first time I saw it. So I love hearing other people's perspective on work, because somebody always sees something differently. And so that is really a very true comment. It is a very interesting and attractive composition. I really like it.
Yeah.
I think this is borderlining on like a Fibonacci instead of an actual rule of thirds, which is why it works. I think when you're dealing with Fibonacci, it's like I'm looking at this and the composition is off, but it's really interesting and I still can't stop staring at it. And it's because I don't know if Leilani might be able to describe Fibonacci better than what I can, but it's not quite the rule of thirds. So you've got your corners. Fibonacci is actually brought in just a teeny bit. So it's more off center than what it is in like a rule of third. And I think that's what makes this image work with the movement, is that it's slightly off center. It's not in a rule of third, but it's still an interesting crop from what you would expect. And I think that's what really makes this, spiral. That's right, Brittany. That's also part of Fibonacci. You've got that really beautiful spiral with mom looking at dad looking at baby. And that's that. Oh, I love Fibonacci. Well done to
and the dark.
Off,
yeah, the dark and the light.
Sorry, Leilani. That
opposition there is really cool.
I love it. We're one image in, and you guys are interrupting each other with enthusiasm. Awesome. Hi, Selena. Thanks for coming.
Hello. I'm so sorry I was late. I got my times out by an hour. Got a lot of the joys of time zones.
I told someone in the Facebook group, I said, I've been doing this for 3 years and I'm still getting them wrong. So we do our best. I'm glad you can make it.
Sweaty. I've just been at the PT, so I apologize that I don't look nice and
You're fine. You're fine.
And I'm red faced, so
we're happy to have you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shift to the next image. Actually, really quick, let me introduce Selena. Let's see. Let me do. Well, hey, Lacey, I don't know how to bring our faces back up.
Oh, yeah. I'll do that. And video. There we go.
There we go. So there's Selena, who is joining us. Selena is also a multi-award-winning birth photographer and documentary photographer. She's in Australia. Actually, 3 of our guests tonight are in Australia, and it is not nighttime for them. So let's see. So Selena has been published internationally around the world, and something that Selena really specializes in is judging imagery. So I'm really excited to have you here tonight, Selena. I thank you for all the hours and time and energy you put into judging these past couple weeks, and I'm looking forward to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, no worries. Look, it's been an absolute honor, Liz, and thank you for having me and everybody else. I made a a concerted effort to try and put comments on everybody's images that I judged. So I hope that they are helpful for everybody. I hope it's been hope it's supportive and provides and helps a learning experience. So I believe critique is the best part and learning is the best part from these sorts of competitions. So
awesome. Thank you. Okay, we're going to jump to the next image. Let's see here. I'm going to grab this next one. Okay, this image is titled Dad Catches His Baby Girl, and it is in the delivery category.
This is just stunning. This is one of those images that just like took my breath away. I mean, the editing is very intentionally kind of on the cusp of HDR. And I really enjoy that. It's not something you see very often. But also just it's just like that perfect split moment where everyone's expression lends something to what's happening and tells sort of a different story. You've got joy, you've got awe, you've got relief. Very well done.
I love that. Great words.
I think what I loved about this one is the fact that Dad is holding that baby so gently, and yet you can see the intensity of the birth space and the intensity of the moment in everybody else's faces. So it's a real, juxtaposition between intimacy, gentleness, but also rawness, but also emotion. Like it's a real mix of different feelings and emotions and story, and there's just so much in this that you can just keep looking around and enjoy. I think that's what I really loved about it.
Oh, I love, we got a comment. I know this photographer, her work is so recognizable and so unique, and I agree. And I love how, Leilani, you spoke specifically to the editing style, because I really do think it makes this photographer's work stand out.
Yeah.
All right, any last words? Oh, I'm loving the comments. If you guys just keep joining in, keep commenting and hopping into the conversation, because I just feel like the more we can talk about an image, the more we can love and appreciate it. And then it just gives me all the warm and fuzzy. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and switch.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Did you want to say anything?
Okay, cool. I'm having some issues, so I'm not sure what. It keeps kicking me out. So sorry about that. I just wanted to say that the use of the frame is so absolutely incredible. Like we've just got the whole spectrum here. And just, this moment feels quite fast to me. And, even just to capture that, where we've got Dad and the baby in focus, and we can see that the tiny droplets falling off the hands, and it just adds to that feeling of like, this is quick, this is like happening, and just to be able to capture it, it's just beautiful. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Thank you. All right, let's see here. I'm going to pull in the next image. Just one sec, guys. Okay. Here we go. This image is titled Euphoria, and it is also in the delivery category.
I love when a title matches exactly what's going on in the image so perfectly, because it's all you can see, but the more you look around, the more you find the little nuggets. And that's when it gets really, really fun to delve into an image and start dissecting all of the little moving parts that's going on. And I particularly love the fairy lights in the pool, because you don't realize that they're fairy lights until you look, and you're like, even then you're like, I know it's fairy lights because, we're in birth work. But I think if you weren't in birth, it just adds such a really beautiful pizzazz to the image.
Going
think
on
that
place with what you said, yeah, just the fairy lights as well. You know, it could be the droplets of the water or mirroring the vernix as well. So we've got all of these little subtleties of, you know, when you're in the birth space, you know all about that, but just as a viewer looking at it, we can still appreciate, you know, this beautiful moment as well. Sorry, Selena.
No, you're all right, Bill. That's fine. What I thought about that too when I was actually looking at judging this, and how this would actually also be beautiful as a circle crop. But then I'm like, but then you miss those fairy lights, and I think that is beautiful, and I think that adds to the image in those particular spots where they would otherwise be quite dark. Like if you didn't have those fairy lights, those areas would be just blackness. So I think that really definitely added to the photo. And then I think on top of that, with the glistening of the water on Dad's back, and then on the pool behind, the birthing person, I think just sort of it adds all of those elements, just ties it all in beautifully. But the emotion in this is just gorgeous. So just the look on the father's face is just delightful.
Selena, I thought the same thing. And then afterwards, I was like, no, you need that negative space and you need that breathing around.
It needs to breathe.
It needed to breathe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a technical term, but yeah.
Yeah, and look, this is where, like, if you, in a judging scenario, if you had a panel of 5 judges, you might split the panel on that. Some would go, no, I really think it would have been better as a circle. Someone, but I think that the way that it is, and this is, I think it's great and lovely, and I'm glad this was presented to us as this way, even though my initial thought was a circle would be great, but then it's like, no, leave it as is. It's beautiful.
I also feel like there's a heart shape in here as well, and I think if it was circled, that would be lost. I like, I like seeing the heart shape, and
Yeah, and just speaking to Belle, I was going to say you've got a triangle, you've got circles, like you've got all of these different shapes that's hidden in this image, and it's really hard as the entrant when you're preparing your image, because you're like, how do I present this? How does it best fit in the category that I'm going to be submitting it into? And I don't really think that there is a wrong way to submit images, but I think that there's always better ways, not better ways, but like as in growth, like as you grow, you kind of learn. And, over time, like Selena said, no, don't. Your initial reaction is to crop it, and then you're like, no, don't. And over time you'll kind of learn, should I do it like this or should I do it like this? And that's what I really love about entering competitions, is kind of being able to discern how to present an image and submit it. And I think that this entrant has done that very beautifully.
I think one of the important things on that point too, though, Lacey, is, when you are submitting an image, it has to be what you want to submit. It has to be what, like, yes, you might take into as an entrant, might take into consideration how the judge might judge it and go, oh, should I make this a circle? Should I make it as a rectangle? But at the end of the day, what you enter, it has to be owned by you and you only. And, it's your work. And if you love it like this, enter it like this. If you want it as a circle, enter it as a circle. Like, it's one of those things, I think, that, you can overanalyze. But at the end of the day, the instinct or whatever it is the entrant wants to enter, it has to be what they want to enter, and own that. And I think that's important to own it.
If I can speak to the tonal range of the blacks and whites, I really appreciate a broad tonal range in blacks and whites, black and white images. And I just love that. I just love how white the whites are, and I love how dark the blacks are without being clipped. I love the detail that's brought out in the hair. I love the wrinkles. I love just seeing all the freckles, the droplets of water, as someone else has already mentioned. I'm not normally a huge fan of a heavy vignette. However, in this image, I feel like there's still some context in the image, because we can see there's a background. We can see that they're in probably someone's living space. We can tell that there's a birth pool in that space. So it's done well without, making them look like floating bodies in a pool kind of a thing. So I really love, in the end, I love all the choices that this photographer made in this particular edit style.
So Such great feedback. Thank you all so much. I'm going to scoot to the next image. Here I thought we were going to have a hard time finding things to say, but
have a hard time shutting us up.
All right, here is our next image. This image is titled Accepting a New Plan, and it is in the labor category. This is also one of our hardship and loss images.
I'd really love to speak to this one, Liz. And I'd love to speak to this one because I've been here in my own birthing journeys where, I've had to, unfortunately, go in for cesareans that I didn't want to have. So I really want to commend the photographer for both taking the shot because, this is not a easy moment to witness and an easy moment to capture. And so I want to commend the photographer for actually taking the shot, being brave enough to take the shot, and also too for having for taking the shot for this person, this birthing person, because this is a really powerful image and it's a powerful moment. And I think it's something that this birthing person will look back on and be so incredibly proud of, and connect with, that it was okay to grieve in a moment when a decision was made that they didn't want to have to make. And I love that that was put into the hardness and loss category too, because it really is a grief. It is, oh God, I'm going to get emotional. It really is an emotional moment when you've got to make a hard decision in birth like that for the sake of your baby, but it's not what you want as the birthing person. So I really want to commend the photographer for all of the choices that they have made here. This image to me it spoke absolute volumes, and it says so much about what this person is experiencing. And I'm really impressed with the photographer and also the capture, just everything about this. I just absolutely love it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and a huge thank you to the family for being willing to share that story. This is the kind of imagery that really speaks to a broad population of people, not just photographers and artists, but people who can identify with the incident that this person is going through. And so really that's like the whole purpose of art, right, is to generate conversation and feelings. And sometimes in birth photography, we get in our own little world and we're all looking at each other's work. But when you can break outside of that, and, this would be an image that you would really appreciate outside of the photography world. It'd be something that a lot of parents would relate to. And so really huge thank you to the family who's willing to share, that story with the public.
Thank you. I just want to point out Sue's comment. I think that it adds a whole nother dimension and appreciation for the image. She said that the light really hits the image perfectly. The harsher shadows and highlights are on the emotion, where the softer light is on the comforting nurse. And it really does add to the story. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Sue.
Great catch.
All right. I'll go ahead and grab another image. Let's see. Sorry, guys. All right, here we go. This image is titled My Sacred Birth Cocoon, and it is in the labor category.
I think pullbacks are probably one of my favorites. And that just might be because I'm a bit biased to documentary, but pulling back from or in a birth space really allows you to capture a wider story and get more details. So like, for example, there are beautiful sunflowers in this image, which leads me to believe that this is during summer. Like there's so many little nuggets that you can get from pulling back and getting the details of what's going on in an image that you can tell what season this image was taken in. And there's so many really incredible things that's going on in here. The coffee table is like full to the brim with birthing things. So I would say that she is probably close, just because everything is out and ready. And yeah, I love this. And the tonal ranges in this are quite beautiful.
Yeah, that yellow from the sunflowers is echoed in so many other places in this image, which is just beautiful because it carries your eye throughout to lots of other little external details.
Yeah, it really balances it out, doesn't it? The pillow, there's yellow on the coffee table.
I love it. Thank you. Great, I'm going to go ahead and grab another image. This image is titled The First Look, and it is in the delivery category.
This perspective is amazing. I've been in the operating room enough times to know that this is a challenging perspective to capture, and this is just beautiful. I mean, what did you say it was titled again? I've already forgotten.
The First Look.
Yes. I mean, I just love that breaking of the barrier between baby and parent and the genuine emotion that you can see on the face. I mean, it's amazing.
And the juxtaposition that's going on as well. You know, one of my favorite things to look at immediately after a baby is born is the expression of the parents and how that is mirrored on the baby. And I think this is another really great example. We see it time and time again in birthing people who have just birthed babies, where they're crying, baby's crying, and there's this really beautiful cohesiveness between expressions. But here we're actually seeing this between the father and the baby. And it is incredible how dad's hands are reaching out, baby's hands are reaching out, baby's crying, dad is crying. You know, there's some unevenness in height, which I think adds dimension to this image because there are so many juxtapositions going on. Yeah. I could keep going,
there's the birthing person's hands are also sandwiched in there. So like even they're also present. Right.
I saw that too. And I think that's one thing I was going to say. Thank you for raising that, Leilani. One thing I was going to say is the fact that I love that the birthing person is still present here, because you can see that hand on top of the dad's. And I think that really was something that got me quite high with this image, the fact that was included in there. I loved particularly that, you know, we don't see a lot of dad images. I think we don't see enough of dad images, and I think that is something that I really loved about this, because it is an image that, you know, this photographer has identified as really special, you know, and it is something that it's just, it is really extra special because, you know, for everything that you guys have mentioned. But yeah, I loved the birthing person's hand in this, and I just adored that when I got that.
I'd just love to add to all of this conversation juices me up. Love it, love it, love it. So quite often we see the birthing person in the mother in the crossing the threshold, you know, that first step out of the bath, or the you know, just the moment where she's got the baby. And I feel like this is almost the dad's crossing of the threshold, from him going from, you know, like the equivalent from maiden to mother. This is what I feel for this. This is the merging of the two worlds. And that's the feeling that I get when I look at this image. It's like, this is his rite of passage into fatherhood or parenthood. Yeah, it gets me quite emotional. I'm croaking up.
I do want to add the controlling of that spotlight on that baby has been incredibly well done.
Yeah.
Well,
the light and the dad's just divine.
Incredible to hear. Thank you all. All right. I hate to move on, but let's see. All right. We're going to go ahead and go to this image. This image is titled Blood Ties, and it is in the birth details category.
Yeah. We just all need to clap for this image because it's just so wonderfully executed. The like the hint of the birthing person there, but not there. And I mean, I almost don't know how to put it into words, how much I love this and feel this. I'll let someone else go.
I think this is art. You know, I think this is art in birth. You know, seeing something different, looking outside the box. A very deliberate composition, very, very deliberately including, you know, taken at the right time. Like this is like what I see as a bit of an fine art, abstract kind of an image, because it really has a uniqueness to it. It's something very different, but at the same time, we know exactly what's going on in this photograph. So, yeah, I love this. Absolutely love this.
I think the biggest telling detail for me is that there is a birth stool there and there is a Chuck's pad on it and it is spotless. Like it is clean. And then there is blood everywhere else. And ironic, you know, it's a little bit ironic, and tells so much about the story. And then you like follow the feet and you're like, oh, there's another nugget. There they are in the background, feet cropped. Like, yeah. I love it.
But also too, the splatter at the beginning, like, you know, the speed from it tells you, it takes you on that journey from the splatter at the beginning. Obviously something happened in that moment right there. We know that, we can see that. And then, right through to where they are right now. It takes you on a journey. And I think that's, it's really well done, done, well seen, well captured.
Yeah.
I just love that there's this space as well between all the feet and the legs, like to have that perspective that it, you know, the what is it? The rebozo, you know, falling down is not touching the, you know, there's space. I'm like, oh, I can look around the frame. And is it like Lacey was saying, how ironic, we've got white on either side of the frame and there's not a 1 ounce of splatter, you know, on that as well.
Or on the bed, on the right.
Yeah. On either side. Amazing.
Leilani, did you want to add anything?
I mean, they said it all. I got so excited when it popped up on the screen that my brain just kind of clamped shut. but I mean, this was like just an incredible example of documentary photographer, you know, like it makes the viewer put the story together themselves. And that is truly exceptional documentary work.
I just want to add that it's in the birth details category, and birth details really encompasses any time of the birth, during labor, delivery, anything. And so this easily could have been put in different categories. And I think the category placement really makes it shine. Like this truly is, it's the details of the birth, but it's telling so much of the story. So very cool. Okay. Let me grab another one. Please don't tell me when I've already selected it. So it's kind of a guessing game. Okay, this image is titled Nucleus. Oh, yeah. It is in the birth details category. I pronounced that correctly, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
I just love this. This is just so beautifully seen, and the composition is just gorgeous. I love the editing. I love all of the vernix and the details of the hair and the ear and the birthing person's hand. It's just gorgeous. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is such an incredible image. I loved it. Love it.
Yeah. I love the depth, the chosen depth of field here, because even though we are very close to what's happening, there's still some depth between baby and the birthing person holding the baby, and baby is just so crisp and in focus, and you see all those details of the frosting in the hair, and even I love the little drip coming off of baby's chin.
Mm-hmm.
That cord just prominently centered around baby's neck, which is what makes the title perfect for it. Yeah, well done.
I also like with the crop, they've deliberately cropped this. It's not, your standard rectangle, but it's also not an exact square. So I think that the crop is perfect, actually, because you've got that little bit. If you actually got a ruler and you measured around the outside of the elements of the image, you would have the same distance from arm on one side to the edge and arm on the other to the edge, baby's head at the top to the edge, and then bottom of the tummy to the edge. And I think that is that shows to me that the photographer has really considered the crop for this and put a lot of attention to detail in that. I think the only comment that I really made on this one was around that title with the nuchal cord, because I didn't feel that the nuchal cord, I didn't feel it was enough or prominent enough in the image to actually, yes, it helped, the title helped you to understand that, but at the same time, I wondered whether a different title would have actually helped it to be a bit stronger in more of what was going on. I mean, that's my personal opinion. Only because I just didn't feel that the nuchal cord was enough of a prominent feature in the image, I guess, to connect it with that title. So I felt there was a little bit of a disconnection between the title and the nuchal cord. But then at the same time, the title also brought that to my attention. So it's one of those things, titling, captioning, I've spoken about that before. It is a really hard thing to get right. So, yeah, in this case, I think it works. It works. A different title may have worked too, but it's a beautiful shot, well seen, well captured, and like I said, I really love the crop and the intentionality of it.
I love what you said, Selena, about that, and I'm in two minds. I'm kind of like, does the title add or doesn't it? I think because it is such an interesting composition, and there's almost a feeling, this is where that tension is happening for me personally as a viewer. I'm like, there's a bit of tension here, and I think it's almost awkward in a way that the birthing person's holding, and I think the nuchal title adds to that, because there's a reason why it's a little bit awkward. So I think in this case, for me personally, it adds to it.
Yeah,
I need,
and I guess that's where I'm. And like Brittany has said as well, she said in the comments, I think you'd miss the nuchal cord without the title, and I completely agree. And I think that's where I was torn with that. And so that's where I'm like, I don't know if a better title would be better. I don't know if that's the right title. Like I'm just in that. I'm not 100% sure, but look, I think in this case, in the absence of a title, it's a great title. I just don't know. And look, I thought about it afterwards, and I'm like, I don't know what I would put to it too. So I think, yes, I agree, Belle. I do think it works. It was just one of those comments. I'm just like, oh, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things. You're sure, you're not sure. You're just sort of sitting on the fence with it.
Yeah,
because even with the birthing person's fingers. Sorry, Leilani. You can see there's been a bit of it feels awkward, but I think that's why. So,
and I agree with you, having said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
It's a good example of a title potentially elevating an image because it zeroes in on that one unique detail, and like we were talking about the symmetry, it's so intentional. Because it's not a perfect square, it's not a rectangle, it's not a vertical image. It's so intentional with the symmetry of everything. I really still look at that nuchal cord really is dead center. All the hands around it sort of guide your eye to it. You've got some lines that just kind of like. So I can see both sides, but for me the title sort of I'm pretty sure that looking at this image, I went back to the title and then came back and was better able to judge the image based on the title.
And I think that too, because I realized that once I realized the title, I was just torn with it. But then at the same time, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to let that stop me from judging it. So I didn't discard it, but at the same time, I didn't put extra emphasis on it. So I think it was when I judged it, I was like, yep, okay, I judged it for what the image was worth, and then just maybe the title had maybe a little bit of extra strength to it. So yeah, sometimes titles they can really elevate an image. Sometimes they can just add that extra little bit of detail, and I think that's what it did for me here. It just added that extra little bit of detail. But yeah, really interesting conversation, titles.
Yeah, and I really think that, I think everyone here has said that the title could go either way. And, sometimes it's kind of fun to find those nuggets. And I think that would be a nice little hidden nugget. Like if the artist did choose to go with a different title, it could be a really fun nugget for us as a judge to be searching around the image and then find that nuchal chord and be like, oh, and then that can really add another element to the image as well. And Belle mentioned this a couple of times about, I think the word you used was awkward. And this image actually made, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but it made me feel uncomfortable. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And now, which is why I haven't said anything, because I'm just like listening to the other judges and what they have to say. And I think it's everything that everyone mentioned. I think it's the precision of, the crop, and the precision of the centeredness, and the precision of the color. Like everything about this has been so intentionally done that I think it caught me off guard and made me feel a little uncomfortable, but in a really, really great way, because it has been so well done, and it's been so intentional. Everything in this image, in the editing, down to the crop, down to where they center that crop has been intentionally done. And I think as an artist, that made me a little uncomfortable, because maybe sometimes I don't do that all the time.
Yeah.
And
there's a perfection in it.
Yes.
There's a perfection in this that doesn't break a lot of rules, right? Like it's actually very, except for, I guess, if you wanted to say, oh, they broke the rule of thirds rule or whatever. But I'm glad that you mentioned the editing, Lacey, because in a world full of very warm images, which is kind of the trend right now, I really appreciated the consistency